Okay, guys, we did it. We hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. This is so surreal. If you know, you know. Like, if you are somebody who creates content, having the 100K plaque on YouTube has been on my Pinterest board for the last 5 years. It has been a dream of mine to see my name and Busy Blooming's name on a plaque. It is so crazy, and I actually hit 100K about a month ago, and I have been dying to talk about it because I have so many thoughts about YouTube, what works, what doesn't work, my experience, the way I view YouTube, changes I've made, because I have tried everything. I would say about 3 years ago today, I was doing a 9-to-5 vlogs. I think I would get, 1,000 views on my vlogs, maybe 100 views on my podcast episodes on YouTube. And now we're here today with 100,000 on YouTube. This channel has millions of views. The podcast has millions of listens. And YouTube is truly like the centerpiece of my entire business and everything we do over here at Busy Blooming. And I have had such a love-hate for the platform. Again, if you create on YouTube, you know. Sometimes you love it, sometimes you hate it. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick off a little YouTube extravaganza over here at Busy Blooming. We're going to go on a little work retreat over the next few days, a little off-site, talking all about YouTube. Today, I'm going to talk all about the main mindset switch I had a few years ago where everything actually started really growing and taking off. I'm going to talk all about that. I hope it resonates. And then later this week, we're actually going to do another episode this week all about my unfiltered, chaotic mistakes, everything I did wrong, also how I film videos, all of that. And then next week, we're going to talk about how YouTube has changed since 2016. So we're going to have a little 3-part series over the next week together. So with all that being said, let's just get into it. Part 1 of our YouTube office retreat that we're all gonna go on. Let's get into it. Okay, so the motto for the new year this year at Busy Blooming is to stop overthinking and just take more action. And if you have been wanting to rebrand and elevate your business, you need to decide that today is day 1. This is the time to get the email with your business name at the end of it. Have your website look the way you've always wanted to look. And it's not gonna take as long or as much money as you think because of today's sponsor, which is Hostinger. There are so many reasons why I love Hostinger, especially for the new year. Firstly, I'm not even exaggerating when I tell you, it takes literally 1 minute to make your website. So not only that, but also with Hostinger, you can claim your domain name for your website and make that your email. I remember when I finally switched my emails to @busyblooming.ca, it just made me feel so much more elevated and like I was really taking all this seriously. And the website you can make can have all in one place your services, your products, you can promote your podcast. I wasted thousands of dollars and not even hours, like days and weeks of time designing websites. I wish I had Hostinger back in the day because their AI website builder will actually blow your mind. And you can get your domain, your email all organized in one place. And they also are just so easy to use and make everything just so seamless. So Hostinger is literally a one-stop shop for your website, domain, and your email. And you guys, it's only $2.99 if you lock in for 48 months. That price is a part of their New Year's sale. So go check it out before it goes away. Go to hostinger.com/Tess. I personally recommend the business plan. And get this, make sure to enter code Tess and you get an additional 10% off. So go to hostinger.com/Tess, click the link in the description, use coupon code Tess, and elevate your business, brand, website, and email all in one place. Thank you so much to Hostinger for sponsoring today's episode. They're absolutely amazing. You have to go check them out and let's clock in and go to work. Okay, so like I said, a couple of years ago at this time, my goal was to do social media. I had the podcast. I actually had a separate channel for the podcast. Again, we get 100 views on the podcast. And then I had this channel. And this whole channel a few years ago, it was really like a personal brand. Like I did vlogs, week in my life. I did get ready with me's. Like it was really all about myself. It was just called Tess Barclay. And nothing was really hitting. Like I had kind of picked up my old YouTube channel from high school. I think maybe I had 10,000 subscribers or something in my very early 20s. So for a few years of my 20s, I was posting vlogs, trying to show a week in my life, trying to do get ready with me, giving some tips of different things. Like I was really trying to grow on YouTube. At the time when I was doing YouTube vlogs, all of that, I really viewed YouTube as like its own thing. Like I was growing my podcast, I was growing Busy Blooming, I was growing my social media. And a few years ago, I had this revelation that YouTube shouldn't be its own thing for me. It should be the center of what I do. It should be the middle puzzle piece to this big puzzle of all the other things I'm building, my personal brand, Busy Blooming, my podcast. At the time, I did coaching, I had a course. YouTube shouldn't be my business. I shouldn't want to try to be a YouTuber. We talk about this all the time over here of viewing social media as a how, not a what. Like what you want to do isn't content, what you want to do isn't social media. But when I really thought about it, I'm like, okay, what I actually want to do, my mission, my why is two things. It's to help people stay on the pulse of social media and make people not create in isolation. Like those are the two things I'm trying to do, like the overarching why, my mission. And I wonder if I could, instead of trying to grow the YouTube channel, use the YouTube channel to grow that and like grow my business. I don't know if this is making any sense. And then I also did have my Busy Blooming podcast on the side, which was like another separate thing. Okay, so what I ended up doing was I thought, what if it's possible to create a piece of content on this YouTube channel that replaces my podcast, replaces all my vlogs, all the content I'm doing over here on YouTube, and also can kind of move away from being this separate thing and become the center of everything that I do. At the time, I did coaching, courses, events. I got a million things going on. So rather than trying to think like, okay, how can I be a YouTuber? How can I be a vlogger? How can I be a podcaster? Rather than all of that, just find a piece of content that works for all of it. So what I actually ended up doing was simultaneously growing a YouTube channel and a podcast audience at the same time. Rather than having a separate YouTube strategy and a separate podcast strategy, it's just one video that actually hits a million birds with one stone. And then as I would create those YouTube videos, I would also mention other pieces of the business that I was doing. So we're going to get back into that. This absolutely like changed my entire life. Like, not to be dramatic, but this actually changed my whole life, having this mindset around it. So what I did is I wiped my entire YouTube channel. At the time, it was just Tess Barclay. I privated every single piece of content, all my vlogs, everything. I deleted the old Busy Blooming podcast channel and I renamed this channel Tess Barclay / Busy Blooming. And what I did is I thought, okay, I'm going to combine my podcast and my vlogs and like everything together and stop thinking about making YouTube videos and being a YouTuber, but just start thinking about saying things on this platform that helps me accomplish my mission. And so, like, more details of how I actually did this is I decided to post one video a week. No editing, no graphics, no text, no B-roll, like no nothing. And I'm just going to talk for 15 minutes, 20 minutes about my mission. And that's going to become my YouTube channel and my podcast. And we actually just did a live session in Busy Blooming HQ where we dove into all of this. I gave like so much unfiltered detail of like my exact strategy of like what I decided to post. I had like a 2-year plan that I shared in HQ. But I stopped trying to grow a podcast or grow a YouTube channel and just have 15-minute videos of talking, which this has obviously evolved over the years into being more of, the Busy Blooming podcast. But that's how I started. And that is when everything changed for me, because I stopped 100% thinking about being a YouTuber, being a vlogger. I just stopped thinking about myself at all. And then when I would create YouTube videos about these topics that I'd also talk about on Instagram, on TikTok, whatever it was, I also would start kind of talking about other pieces of my business. I would talk about my coaching and my course at the time. I would talk about things that I just shared on Instagram. I would always mention like the other things going on through these like 15-20 minute simple talking videos. I also made so many conscious decisions here. Firstly, I made everything completely evergreen. Anything time bound, anything really personal, I would just really make those videos completely focused on the topic for the audience. I also made them really, really bold titles, which getting bolder and bolder and bolder. We've said this before. I've actually done a YouTube video about YouTube before where like your title should cringe you out. And when people clicked on the video, it just went right into the video. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about what time of year it was. It wasn't like, welcome back to whatever podcast, nothing. It was just about the topic. So simple. Honestly, I have to shout shout out Lynette Atkins. She rewired my brain chemistry of like maybe 4 years ago. I found her channel, and when I saw a video of her, I love her still. I still watch her to this day. I saw a video of her talking. I think it was like a 20-minute video about social media, and her whole video was just her sitting and talking with a little bit of text, and I thought, that is what the future of podcasting is going to be. It's not people being like, conversational, welcome back to the podcast, whatever. It's just these episodes that are they basically the same thing as a YouTube video. So that is what I did. I kind of combined everything together into these very simple videos. Another thing with this is when you're simultaneously growing a YouTube channel and a podcast on all the podcasting platforms. Like, I know there's people listening or watching to this on Spotify, Apple, like all of them. When you're simultaneously growing a podcast audience and business and a YouTube audience and business from the exact same video, it is such a big benefit in so many ways because you're reaching every platform, long form platform possible with the same content. But then also sponsors wise, it has just changed my life. I don't do traditional podcast sponsors or traditional YouTube sponsors. Like, we don't make a whole YouTube video for a sponsor. We slot them in the way you do a podcast. So it's very interesting. So doing both with one piece of content was like, it changed my life. But that is what I did like 3 years ago. That is when YouTube really, really started growing, and the other parts of the business started growing as well. For example, at the time when I did coaching, I would do a YouTube video about something I learned in my coaching that accomplished my mission of like helping people. But I would talk with something I learned in my coaching, or talked a whole episode, a whole video about something I talked about in my course. Or if I like had a TikTok go viral or something, I would make a video about that TikTok to link that together. Like, I use the videos to link everything together. And then also from a content strategy perspective, what I did for a while was I would use that video as the theme for the week. So I'd post a YouTube video / podcast episode, same thing. And then that would be my theme for the week on social media. I'd be like, okay, this video is about YouTube, all my Instagram, all my TikTok, everything on Busy Blooming is going to be about the video. Clip from the video, carousels version. So I really had to change my mindset of like, okay, I'm not going to grow a YouTube channel or be a YouTuber. I'm going to be a founder and use this platform to create simple videos that talk about things that get me closer to my mission, and then talk about the other piece of the business that I'm doing within those videos. I don't know if this makes any sense, but that is what I did, and it helped me so much. It's so ironic that the second I'm like, I don't even want to be a YouTuber, I want to be a founder and use this, is when everything started growing. In terms of the actual production of YouTube, I really do feel like the biggest lesson I learned is do less, and I'm going to talk so much more about this on the episode coming up this week about like actual technical titles and thumbnails and things like that. HQ has so much of that content. Again, our workshop, we dive into all of those. But that is the mindset that completely changed my mind about YouTube, is to stop trying to be a YouTuber and be a founder and use this as a tool of simple videos that accomplish my mission. And honestly, that's how you find your target audience for the business you want anyways. You have to almost think bigger than YouTube, bigger than podcasting, and use them as a tool to establish and connect your business together and like establish yourself of what you want to be known for. Anyways, I will leave us there today for today's meeting. I have so much else to say about more technical stuff of like actually growing on YouTube that I will share in the episode later this week. And then also next week as well. Go check out HQ. But that is the mindset that really helped me. I hope that was helpful to somebody. And with all that being said, let's get into content ideas and trends of the week. Okay, welcome to the part of the show where we talk about content ideas and trends for the week. I give you your content calendar, a couple ideas from the HQ report that we will all do together this week, which I'm so excited about. Okay, so we're going to do one trend and then one evergreen idea. So this trend going around everywhere right now that I've been loving is reasons you don't want to be friends with me. And it's basically just people going through reasons that people wouldn't want to be friends with them, sharing their opinions on certain things. This reminds me of a trend that was going around, I think like 2 or 3 months ago, that was reasons you would or would not follow me. It was like a get ready with me. It was very similar to this, but this is kind of just a repackaged as reasons you wouldn't want to be friends with me. I love this idea for the week. The way that I would personally do this is attach a theme to it of like reasons you wouldn't want to be friends with me as a content creator or as a stylist. You also could make this reasons you would or wouldn't want to work with me if you have clients, like you're trying to get clients. You could be like, reasons you would or wouldn't want to listen to my podcast, reasons you would or wouldn't want to go to the gym with me if you're a gym girly, or reasons you wouldn't want to hire me if you work 9 to 5. Like, I don't know, whatever it is, you could link it back rather than friends. I would probably do this about the podcast of like reasons you would or wouldn't want to listen to my podcast and talk about how I think the algorithm is like kind of irrelevant, how content is that deep, like all of that. But I love this idea. I love a talking to camera trend. I feel like they just are so much like stickier for people who watch your content than text on screen. But that's a trend for the week. And then in terms of the content idea for the week, so this is something I haven't seen anywhere, but this week we are ending January, of course. Next week is February, which is so crazy. But I thought, what if the content idea that we could all do this week, maybe even on like the last day of January this week, is do a piece of content about your 30-day trial of 2026 is over and things you're not or are going to take into the rest of the year. I know there's 31 days in January, but 30-day trial is just more popular of like a phrase, but you could say 30-day trial of 2026. And this could either be like text on screen of like, okay, my 30-day trial of 2026 is over as a personal trainer, as a content coach, as a 9 to 5 girly, or it could be talking to camera of my 30-day trial of 2026 is over as a content coach, as a content creator. Or it also could be linked to a goal that you're working on as somebody who's trying to get their dream body this year, or help their mental health this year, quit their 9 to 5 to become a content creator. Like, you could do it kind of positioned in either like something about you or something you're working on. And then share things that you are or you're not going to bring into 2026, the rest of the year. You also could do this again when Lunar New Year happens in the middle of February, where the year of the horse officially begins. Reminder, we're still in the shedding season. And trust me, I am feeling that. We're still shedding things that we don't need. So you also could do this again then and be like, okay, shedding season is over. It's time for the year of the horse. Like, here's what I'm shedding. But I love this idea for the week of like things you've learned or like takeaways from your 30-day trial of 2026. Like, I love it. Anyways, those are 2 ideas, one trend, one idea for the week. And I'm just so excited. I'm going to do both of these with everybody. So that's the action item for the week. Okay, I think now it's time to officially get into our last segment of the show, After Hours, where we clock out of work, we clock into after hours, where we listen to a voice note, and we talk about other things. So thanks for coming to work with me today, and let's get into After Hours. Okay, welcome to After Hours, everybody. That was a really, really quick episode. When it comes to YouTube, I could go on and on and on and on, and I will over the next episode. It's going to be a long one, and then the week after. I love YouTube so much. But for After Hours today, let's get into the voice note. We have a really good one all about being overwhelmed with content from HQ. So let's get into it.
Hey Tess, Drea Solig here. I just joined BBHQ literally this week, so just learning the ropes of everything. I am the Sugar Reset Mama on Instagram, and I have a heavy focus on one-on-one client work right now, but I'm actually transitioning into content creation because that's what I'm loving doing. I share recipes and tips and tricks, but I'm feeling really lost with how to go about this identity change. And I love your January challenge, and I'm kind of using this month as a growing month, kind of taking a step back and redoing everything, just kind of like my content pillars and all of that. But I'm feeling really lost with identity and how to come across with the message I want to portray. I know that there's so many directions you can go with the content challenge you're giving. Like, when I see that piece of content, I love it, but then my head gets lost in 1,000 different directions and I just can't even choose one. So would love some advice on how to narrow things down, or any tips and tricks you have for how to streamline branding and identity on Instagram specifically.
Okay, I love that. Something we're doing in HQ right now is monthly content strategies, monthly challenges, where every single month I'll create a calendar, a strategy, a vibe, and a habit that we're all following. And it's just like so much fun. Like she said, there are so many endless ways that you can approach social media. There's endless strategies, endless things you could try. My best recommendation for this of what I would do, which is what I do and actually just did this week again to totally like reset, because I also was getting so overwhelmed with like, there's so many different ways to approach social. Like, it's just too much. What I would recommend doing is I love Notion. I talk about it all the time, but I would go into a Notion or a Google Doc or however you want to organize your content. And I would get really, really clear on what are the 2 functions or like the 2 missions of of your brand on social media. And be really specific. Don't just be like, help people eat healthy or like whatever it is. Like, what is the actual like two transformations that you want to help people with? Like, maybe you want to help people, I don't know exactly what you talk about, but like eat no sugar. These aren't types of content. This isn't like a content pillar, which we'll get to, but these are two functions and missions of the content you post. What does it help people do and feel? Like I shared today, everything I do, we help people stay on the pulse and not create an isolation, like get connected. So nail down like two functions and missions of your content of what people would feel and experience and go through after watching all of your content on every platform. And then I would take that and nail it into like 3 or 4 ways that you do that, which is like content templates, which you talk about. So this could be things like meal ideas, grocery shopping guides, your journey and mistakes. That's what I would personally do, and then assign a style to each. So then you have these 3 templates that accomplish those 1 or 2 missions that you have, and then just start there. I'd also really think about your personal brand when you talk about an identity of like, okay, how do you want to show up? When you're being consistent, like what is this consistent brand of your energy? And this is where you really think about like what makes you you. Are you going to be funny? Are you going to be very unfiltered or more professional? Are there certain parts of you and your journey you want to share? I also recently took Grace Beverly's personal branding class, and it was so amazing. One of my biggest takeaways from the class is her approach is to do 80% of content that is kind of on brand for her, and then 20%, the end goal was really just to like connect as a human being with people. I thought that was very interesting. Obviously, it's much more nuanced from her course, but that is an interesting strategy as well. You could try. Regardless, I feel like the secret of all of this is creating your own bubble, like your own hub of this is my mission, these are my 3 content templates, and I'm just gonna stick to like 1 or 2 platforms and post and try, and content's not gonna work, but keep pivoting and figuring out. Like give yourself room instead of like a bunch of rigidity to really grow and elevate and pivot and change. But that's what I would start with. And I would also really think about like your brand of like how you talk about all of these things, because that's a really big piece of helping you with your identity. But at the end of the day, just like picking a schedule and sticking to it, whether it's the HQ schedule from the challenge or your own. But it's so easy to get overwhelmed with like all the different strategies and schedules and like things you could try. So just create your little bubble of this is my mission, these are my templates, this is my schedule. I do this template on Mondays and Thursdays and etc. Focus on 2 platforms. If you're going to try to be on everything, you're just going to go crazy, especially at the beginning. So I would try that out and just be so excited. It's like such a fun journey starting out content from scratch. And thank you so much for sending a voice note. Okay, I think that is everything for today's episode. This is a short episode, but I hope it was helpful, and I'm so excited for the episode later this week. And with all that being said, thanks for coming to work with me together today, and I'll see you in a couple of days for episode 2 of our YouTube extravaganza. Okay, bye.